This first example of PyGame will show you the game loop and the events that occur during that game loop. Presumably you've already gone off to Moodle and you're working on your capstone team project. Recall that the project has two parts, these PyGame tutorials, and then you make your own game after that. In these PyGame tutorials, they're all done with follow me videos that lead you through a bunch of to-dos. You should have already gone off to Moodle and through Moodle in the usual way gotten either a team version of these this code that you use for pair programming, or if you as you've done in the past for most of your other things, a individual version that you do yourself. Even if you do the individual version, you're welcome to get help from others. So I've already accepted this assignment here, and then I, in the usual way, copied the link, reloaded the page, then copied the resulting link. You then went off to PyCharm and did the usual git clone to put it into your PyCharm, and then attached it to the window and are ready to go, hopefully, with this code. If you haven't already done that, do so now. This video is for the 00 Moving Smile folder there. You've got a whole bunch of them, of course. And in the 00 Moving file, you are working with 00a-ExampleGameLoop. That's what this video is for. The file begins with the usual imports here, one for PyGame and also one for sys. Sys is involved with the event called the exit event, and so you'll have those two things, import PyGame and import sys. Resize my screen there so we can see the code better. So you'll typically have that initialization. It starts by initializing various things, the PyGame itself, and then a caption. Let's run it and see what that is. There's that caption, hello world. And then it also initializes the size of this thing to be 640 by 480. So you'll typically have those three lines there. I've resized my screen to make things more visible. So 3 lines there at the beginning to initialize. Then you enter what's called the game loop, a while true loop, a loop that runs forever, that repeatedly does several things. First, it's going to fill the screen with a white background. Colors are represented in PyCharm as 3 tuples, 3 numbers in parentheses, that each of which are numbers from 0 to 255. The first one represents the amount of red, the second the amount of green, the second blue, RGB, red, green, blue. Because the numbers are from 0 to 255, we have 256 choices for each. Numbers that have 256 choices can be represented using 8 bits, that is a string of 8 zeros and 1s, and we're using therefore 8 plus 8 plus 8, which is 24, or what's called 24-bit color. Game loop typically has 4 parts. First, where you fill in the background, as we've just seen. Second, where you check for and respond to events. We'll talk about that next. Then you're going to draw things, though there's nothing drawn in this example. And finally, you update the screen. Let's talk about events. The chunk of code that's relevant here is shown here. What we do is we get the event each time through the game loop, we get the list of events. We then, in this example, we're just going to print those events, just as an example. When we get the quit event, we're going to stop the program. Let's watch that in action. Normally, by the way, you would do things with those events. But here, we're just going to print them. So here's our program running. And then over there on the right, we're printing all those events. So I just moved out of the window. I just had the window leave event. Then as I come back in, I've got the bunch of mouse motion events, but also I entered there. Then I've left again. So here are all sorts of mouse motion events. Notice that the coordinate system is such that the upper left corner is 0, 0. And then as we go to the right, the x value increases. As we go down, the y value increases. We can also do mouse clicks. So here's a click of the mouse. The events are a mouse button up, mouse button down, so I'm doing a bunch of those. I can also do right clicks. I think I'm showing that here at this point. Right clicks, mouse button up, mouse button down. Now I'm showing some keyboard inputs. You can do key up, key down, various things. You'll learn lots more about this in later videos. I want to show you the quit event. When you click on the red button there, like I'm about to do, we see that we get the quit event. Summarize. Every PyGame project will have some imports there at the beginning, same ones there. It'll have some initialization stuff that sets maybe the caption and the size of the screen. And then it'll enter the game loop, a while true loop that will run for the remainder of the game. The while through loop, the game loop, will typically do some sort of a background, here just a white background. Then it will check for and respond to events. This program just printed those events. Then it will draw things. Here this one didn't draw anything. And then it will update the screen. That's this basic structure. You'll see lots more details in subsequent videos about all of this.